Hello everyone, this is Ellie of HERBCRAFT by Ellie Apothecary here with another intentional black screen ASMR reading. I'm going to do something different today. First of all, welcome everyone if you haven't been here before. This is a spiritual community. I tend to activate people, so if you're not interested in spiritual evolution, have a great day. There are thousands of tarot readers and psychics and all that on YouTube for you to discover, and I wish you luck on your journey. For those of you that are feeling brave, buckle in. Let's go. I do sometimes what's called a tarot quest as a spiritual guide. I guide the collective, and these are genuine collective messages. I guide them. Hangman and the Hierophant came out as I'm saying that. Through a journey, right? I am working with the HERBCRAFTers Tarot. The cards have different names, so Hayas are pages, Adelitas are knights, Madres are queens, and Curanderas are kings. I have about another dozen different oracle and tarot decks I can work with for this reading. Description box has all the links, all the information, along with a descriptor of this reading with it. Now these quests can go anywhere if we do a full tarot quest. They can go anywhere from an hour to 2 hours long. I typically make shorter form versions of all the messages within a couple weeks of the original message coming out. So if you prefer shorter form, subscribe and check back later. Hit that notification bell so you know what's going on. Alright, I wanted to start this message because I was getting a channel. I have taken some time to rest and have some self-care, and my voice is a little raspy because I'm also kind of in between a cold, but I'm almost better. It's all good. Anyways, so I'm a little raspy, but we're just going to go with it. The channel I started getting was, how do you know you have overcome a lack mindset? Anybody know? When you appear to have no one and nothing, but you know that you have everything and everyone inside of you. I started feeling this strong pull when that message started coming in. And I thought I was just going to do a straight channel. And I thought, you know what, let's just be open to see what happens. Alright, so I do call out every card so you don't miss a thing. For those of you that are tarot enthusiasts or you are learning, you'll probably be able to pick up a thing or two from my readings. So pay attention. And thank you for being here. Alright, I just pulled out a ton of cards. Why don't you get yourself a snack, fidget toy, favorite beverage, or just kick back. Feel free to pause the video, save it to watch later, come back to it later, watch it in doses, whatever. You know, it's up to you. You do you how you want to do you, and I'll do me over here. Cool? Cool. I'm feeling, let's see, I'm also an empath. I'm feeling a rush. I'm feeling a little irritability. I'm feeling also this conflicting calm comfortability at the same time. It's an opposing of opposite energies. We are under a Scorpio moon, and I say that because first, I'm a professional astrologer and I track those things. Whether you're catching this during a Scorpio moon or not, you probably won't be, because it goes into Sag later tonight and the next day, as far as my part of the world in the States. But every time the moon is in a sign, goes through all 12 signs throughout the cycle, right? Starting with Aries, ending on Pisces. Whatever the moon is in at that time is the emotion of the collective. It is what everybody is feeling and processing. It's also what's in the dark, the hidden, the subconscious. So I journey with a lot of people who are already on this path, who are putting into the spiritual work, offering some kind of service to others. I'm talking to fellow spiritual leaders and healers, woo-woo experts, high priests, priestesses, and higher frequency readers. Okay? Psychic, medium, empaths, herbalists, and those that just have the potential for utmost compassion for humanity. We are in a time in our world where having an open mind and an open heart is more important than anything. I'm not going to talk about what's going on in the world. There's enough people talking about it. But what I will tell you is how you can get through those changes. How you can anchor into that change. If you have not heard my last channeled message, what did I call that? It's been a little bit. I've had some personal healing I had to do both physically and emotionally. I actually injured myself. I was down for like 3 weeks. I'm all right now, but in case my regular subscribers were wondering why it's been so long since I've produced anything or created, I've actually been working on other projects while I heal. So I do feel the absence. I do feel the call to show up for y'all, and I will continue to do that. But I'm always going to take care of myself first. And I'm going to help other people do that too, by leading by example. So my last message went into those themes, talking about how do you find that balance between rest and our kind of over hyper masculinized society. Now when I talk again about energies of masculine or feminine, I'm talking about assertive versus receptive. Okay? We're not talking about gender roles here. And most people who are in this energy of spirituality know those common ancient universal laws, right? There's also the neutral space. And if we were talking about gender, we would be talking about non-binary or agendered. So it's that liminal space between action and receiving action, okay? Check out my last message. I will link it at the end of this video. You can also go to the channel homepage. The link's in the description box. Or click on my icon and go check it out. For some reason I'm blanking on it right now, but you'll see it. It's whatever is the last video I published. Anyways, it was a really great channeled message, and I hope you find value from it. So, let's see what we have in front of us now. We're talking about heart healing, we're talking about open minds, we're talking about anchoring into chaos in order to get through it, right? Being the calm in the storm, okay? And in order to do that, you have to know how to tame a storm and then become a storm, and then you can guide other people through the storm. I have done that. I have done that. For those of you that have been following my journey, you know what I'm talking about. I'm also a writer, and I contribute prose and poetry and more channeled prose and poetry and messages. And yes, I am writing some literature that will eventually be published. So you'll be able to follow along how I got to this point, how I ascended, how I went through my trials and tribulations, how I was forged in fire. I've been through a lot. I'm not a victim. I'm a freaking spiritual warrior, and I'm here to help other people. But I'm not going to throw it in your face. Everyone here has a choice. Everyone here gets to decide whether they choose to stay in old cycles and repeat and repeat and repeat and feel victimized by their surroundings and other people and their choices that keep them stuck, or to do the brave thing, break the cycle, break the stagnancy, forge ahead. And sometimes you have to learn how to be comfortable in that in-between space in order to create that possibility for you, hence being the calm within the storm, being the eye of the storm. I actually I channeled something, I want to say it was a couple months ago. I did not share it. I've been keeping my written works hidden for a reason. I've talked about that in another video. I won't go into it here, but I have something I'm working on to publish. And as someone who channels for the collective more than I do individuals, sometimes we pick up on similar energies. When you are vibrating at a similar frequency to somebody or a group of your soul collective, right? You'll start to notice these crossover themes. Some people, on a more observation, some people who are still healing their security, so to speak, might be defensive of what other people's are saying that is similar. But if you come from a place of unity instead of competition, you won't look at what other people are saying as a threat. You'll look at it as wisdom, which is what it is. And if there are many of us in the spiritual field that are channeling similar messages, because Spirit wants us to convey to multiple people in multiple facets, so they're going to spread it like tree roots to many of us. And the way we express upon the world is the different kinds of people and energies that it's going to get to. So on that level, I'm getting a channel about, like, if you ever feel intimidated by somebody else's growth or expression, ask yourself why you are limiting yourself or you feel like you are stuck. Look at that. Be mindful. Do the brave work. If you are a spiritual person, it's not just about doing the inner work. It's also about working in a community. And I know in this day and world with the capitalism and also the competition on YouTube, that people feel the pressure to fit a certain mold to produce in a certain way. And that if you're not doing that, then you're not going to meet some monetary goal. Well, guess what, folks? You can still do that. If you believe and you truly are spiritual, that Spirit will provide, Spirit will provide. Okay? And it's not always cash money, honey. Sometimes it's unexpected blessings from people you didn't even know cared, right? I have come from poverty. I have come from lack. I've also had a really good life sometimes. I know what it's like to be on both sides of the spectrum, all right? Wealth is within, so is without. That's really what that channeled message is in the beginning, what I was trying to say. And Spirit's like channeling hard through me. I haven't done a message for a while, so I'm a little backed up energetically, you know what I mean? And I've literally got like 23 cards in front of me. Number 23 could be significant. Oh, that was a good movie. You remember that? Speaking of, man, I don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole, but has anybody looked into Jim Carrey's Spiritual Awakening? I love that. I love everything about that. Everybody thought he was nuts too, but he's not. Turns out he's just evolved and had a spiritual awakening. For those of you that are questioning the journey, perhaps that's a good little nugget to look into. All right. So lack mindsets, right? Trauma is what causes us to think we are not enough. But if you are brave enough to face those shadows, you can overcome that. And being brave doesn't mean that you have the confidence. It means that you are willing to do what it takes to establish that confidence. Excuse me. Confirmation burp. I just had dinner like a half an hour ago. I apologize. That's also Spirit confirming. So let's see what cards I pulled here. For those of you that are still hanging in, know that if you make it to the end of this message or you come back and check out the different shorter form messages later, this was definitely for you. So that's confirmation. People who click off after 30 seconds for whatever reason, that's their choice. Go for it. But for those of you that actually are intrigued and you want to learn something or you want to commiserate with a like-minded soul, welcome. Kick back. Feel free to engage in the comments, share your stories, let me know how this message resonates with you. And if you'd like me to check out your work, then reach out to me on the blog. I always do an accompanying blog on the YouTube post page of this channel, of my channel, which is under my name, Ellie Ash Monroe, but I'm under my shop name officially, HERBCRAFT by Ellie Apothecary. All right. I check the channel blog more than I check the YouTube content because it's easier to track over there. So After this video premieres and I have the blog up, I'll pin it down in the comments. You can click on that. You can see pictures of the main cards that came through, and you can drop your comments. And please consider subscribing. Yet again, I am not somebody who needs to be liked, but if you do hit that like button, you show the algorithm that you want more content like this. They circulate it better, and then our spiritual community grows. So it's a win-win for everybody. Alright, I just pulled another 2 cards. Spirit's got a lot to come through. This looks like it's going to turn into a tarot quest. So buckle in. 6, 12. Oh, 17 cards. Star card. Aquarius. We are in Aquarius season, but again, this is a timeless message, which means it's going to come to you when it's meant to come to you. And even though this is a collective general message, it's whatever spirit wants to come through, there are going to be side messages for other people. That's another reason why I do the short form edits, is so you can receive specific messages. Because I know, look, I do long form content because that's just the way I like to create. I prefer to put my all into the moment. It's kind of like a ritual for me every time I sit down and do these readings. I'm not somebody who produces content to make money. I offer messages to help, to show up, to provide, okay? So to me, this is an act of art. This is an act of creation. And if you'd like to support what I'm doing here, then of course I am grateful if you decide to donate or tip to the channel. Links are in the description box. Simply your presence and allowing me to read on your energy is a privilege, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I do Divine with Music, so I have my Divine With Me playlist from Spotify on. Links are also in the description box. Alright, without further ado, y'all have heard me channel in, you've heard me get into this message. I usually do a timestamp where the message gets in, but, you know, I was kind of in the moment, forgot to mention I do that, so if you're still here, thank you so much. Alright. 17 cards. Alright, Spirit. I'm going to read off the cards to you from the 3 lines I have here. Again, I think YouTube has it where you can hold down on the time bar and it'll kind of skip you ahead. You're welcome to do that at any point if you want. Okay. Top left, we've got 6 cards, and then another row of 6, and then 5 below that. I have a feeling we'll be pulling more cards after that, but let's go. Top left, 2 right. 3 of Earth. These cards also have plants on them because it is an herb crafter's deck. I'm also an herbalist. If I feel it is relevant to list off the plants, it could also ping further synchronicities for you. Pay attention. And also keep in mind that synchronicities are not always relevant in the moment. So if you feel called to write down a note or drop it in the comments and refer to it later, it could ping something for you later. Pay attention, okay? I also keep a log of my daily channeled messages, my psychic notebook, in my blog posts. So sometimes whatever is coming through around the time of a collected message, that could also have further messages for you. And also if any of the songs are synchronistic to you, look up their lyrics. I also have a channeled songs playlist on Spotify that I keep track of any songs that come through for the collective, and those are listed on my psychic notebook log. I have a lot to offer over here, so I hope you'll consider being a part of our community. Okay, I don't usually do this, but I am going to read the plant names with each card. So again, Earth is Pentacles, Fire is Wands, Water is Cups, and Air is Swords for traditional tarot reference. Okay. 3 of Earth, Raspberry, Adelita of Fire, Cayenne, 5 of Water, Golden Seal, the Chariot, Cedar, Curandera of Fire, Damiana, the Hanged One, Burdock. Below that, next row, underneath the 3 of Earth, we have 9 of Fire, Wild Cherry. Underneath Adelita of Fire, we have 7 of Water, Birch. Underneath the 5 of water, we have the 10 of fire, comfrey. Underneath the chariot, we have Adelita of water, Ocotillo. Underneath the curandera of fire, we have Haya of air, catnip. Underneath the hanged one, we have the Hierophant, cacao. Now the bottom row, we have underneath the 3 of earth and the 9 of fire, the world, Pachamama, aka Mother Earth. Underneath Adelita of fire and 7 of water, we have 2 of air, chicory. Underneath 5 of water and 10 of fire, we have Adelita of earth, yucca. Or yucca? I think it's yucca, but please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sensitive about being wrong. I'd rather be corrected and informed than ignorant and silly. That's just me personally, though. Underneath the chariot and Adelita of water, we have 7 of earth, oak. And then under curandera of fire and Haya of air, we have 4 of water, mint. Alright, I'm going to read into this and we'll get going. If you want to analyze the cards and you do readings and whatnot, then back it up and listen to it again, and possibly you will be able to get more messages through whatever you divine as well. Okay? Alright, what do we have going on here, Spirit? Okay, I just analyzed the cards. Thank you for your patience. Drop a comment if you came up with your own leads, we'll call it. So, 3 of earth. This is a collaboration. This is working on something with others, bringing in a harvest, working in teams, some kind of project. Moving quickly on something. It's some kind of journey. It's got a lot of passion behind it. However, there's been some kind of loss or sadness during this process, whatever this is. Or for those of you, again, this could be past, present, or future, different timelines. So if it isn't something that's happened yet, but you feel called to it, this could be a near future predictive message, but only take what resonates and leave the rest behind. Don't force it to fit, as most readers will tell you. Use your discernment, right? Okay. Also, this could be something that happened to you in the past. I'm going to read it how the energy comes through, but apply it to how it fits to you, okay? Could be the present moment. Could be something that's about to happen. So what I'm reading from this particular group, and there's going to be multiple groups and multiple individuals within that group, because it's a true collective message, right? I'm not referring to a specific person as a collective, because the collective is all of us. It's every single one of us that is a conscious being. That is the collective. So you could look at this with 2 perspectives. You can look at it from, this could be going on with us globally, right? Or this could be going on individually in all our own lives, and how that fits in your own life, you'll know. Okay. All right. So what I'm reading here with the 5 of water is there's some kind of sadness. This feels like a recent past thing. The Chariot being the next card, it's something that has been overcome, or some would hope to overcome quickly, have victory and success. Yeah, definitely something that you want to take action on. You want to lead with courage, with passion. But some of you feel like you need to take a pause. You need to take a moment. You need to get another perspective. You need to meditate on it. Some of you have already done this, and that's what has made you feel like you're ready to take the lead. Down here, the Nine of Fire, that's enduring. It's overcoming continuous battle after battle after battle. It is the card of the Wounded Warrior. It's also putting in a lot of time and effort into something, and being underneath this collaboration card, some of you have put your blood, sweat, and tears into something that could be a group project, or it could be a multifaceted physical project. Possibly there's multiple different components. Perhaps you're building something physical. For some of you, I heard you could be building homes. That's specific to someone. That could be a confirmation for you, or it could just mean pay closer attention. Seven of Cups underneath the Adalita of Fire. That's a lot of options that you want to take. Different directions you want to take action on. Having different choices on how you can create from this passion moving forward. Also, keep in mind that Adalita of Fire, being the Knight of Wands, has been this Wounded Warrior, has been the Knight of Fire. So if this is more than one person, I'm sensing one person very much is still at the end of their battles, so to speak. And somebody has already gone through that. But they aren't quite this King of Wands over here, this Curandera of Fire. That seems like something ambitious that both parties, if I'm feeling specifically for two individuals or two groups or two components in this, are aspiring to be this leader. Or lead on some kind of project. There could be some competition here for some of you, especially with the Seven of Cups. Possibly the third player or third party, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean somebody else that you want. It could be somebody that oversees the project, approves the project, if this is specifically a project for some of you. There's a lot of options in deciding who's going to take it to the next level. This could also be a lot of obstacles and a lot of confusion, a lot of looking at everything but not really being able to see which one is going to fill your cup. So maybe having too many options. This could also be that whatever project you're working on has become oversaturated, convoluted, difficult to perceive what the next good moment is, and some of you, you're getting stuck in your emotions about it. That's causing your wounds to be triggered over here. Ten of Fire, though, a lot of you, this being underneath the Five of Cups, this is telling me that a lot of you have overcome these wounds. A lot of you are at the end of the battle. This is like a past energy. You've already gone through this. Some of you, that this is a multi-person team. One of you has, again, with the Knight of Wands here, or Adalita of Fire, however you want to call that, they've already put all their burdens down. They've already put in all the work. They've already done what they need to do. And there's somebody here who's still working on figuring out how they proceed. It could also represent sitting back and looking at a lot of your emotions and processing something, right? And I feel like it's possible that this person that's still on the journey that's making them wary might be somewhat associated with this Five of Cups over here. Also down here we have the Four of Water on the bottom right. And that is being bored, complacent, missing opportunities, not really seeing things, kind of being stuck in your feelings. But to me, the Four of Cups also represents emotional foundation and security. So even if you're feeling kind of blah, which could be because you're weary from some hard journey or a lot of struggles or a lot of competition, you still have your foundation. So don't forget that. Look at what you have to be grateful for. Perhaps this other person over here, because I'm picking up mostly on two people, two groups, two components, whatever it is, that are the primary in this. This could also be a relationship. This could be coming together, building something new with somebody else. Whatever kind of relationship you want to put it, you go ahead and do that. This isn't a specific kind of reading. This is whatever spirit wants to get through. Okay. I'm a multifaceted person, so I read on multiple different kinds of people in the collective at once. All right. But this person over here that is the Knight of Wands representation, who has already been the wounded warrior, who is on a journey, who is exploring and getting ready to go forward, has already put their burdens down. Possibly this one in the wounded warrior energy who's feeling confused or trying to figure out their emotional stability, also come out of the Five of Cups here, right? To be victorious on this, whatever this goal is, this collaboration. Perhaps it would serve them to communicate with this Knight of Wands who has already been through it, unless there's some kind of conflict, which if there is, we'll pick it up here in the cards in a minute. There is some kind of closing of cycle here with Pachamama with the World card. That is huge new beginnings and endings, huge cycles ending. And it's under the Nine of Fire with the collaboration. So if you do resonate with the person who's kind of struggling right now, who's feeling a little battle weary, whatever that may be, why, I don't know. That's going to be unique to you. And I do personal readings. Check out the description box if you want to connect. Anyways, it seems like this person is closing a huge freaking cycle right now. And with the Two of Air, the Two of Swords underneath, the Seven of Cups underneath the Knight of Wands, it's making a decision and not getting lost in the sauce, so to speak. So you can journey on as the Knight of Wands. So you can move forward on your passions on your way to being this King of Fire, right? Because of the Five of Water above the Ten of Wands here with the Adelita Earth, this is, some of you have been working on this for a very long time. Those of you that resonate with the Wounded Warrior, we'll call it that, okay? And again, there's no judgment here. We're just speaking the truth, all right? If you feel triggered at any point throughout this, pause the video, take a deep breath. I recommend the box breath. That's, in fact, I'll do it with you right now because I feel like someone's getting frustrated. I'm also talking really quickly because the energy is really quick. It's very fiery. So everyone who can take a deep breath, please do. Ready? We're going to do one deep inhale and then a slow 4-part release like you're letting air out of a balloon. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, in. Out. If you feel like you want to, do that one more time, but don't do it a third. You will get too lightheaded. And if you do try it to get lightheaded, you might not want to keep listening to this reading because I advised you not to. I'm not a doctor, but just try to use some common sense, please, and thank you. All right? So those of you that do identify with the quote-unquote wounded warrior, these burdens you've been trying to put down, and for some of you, I'm very much feeling that it is emotional burdens of the past. In order to close out this cycle, you have to decide, you have to make a choice here. You have to stop blocking what is coming to you. For some of you, you need to stop blocking your emotions, stop getting distracted with work, stop getting distracted with other people. In other words, eliminate the distractions and look at what is right in front of you, especially with the Four Cups down here on the side. Some of you are feeling very bored, complacent, you're kind of stuck in a rut, or you're just like, you're feeling the same emotions over and over. That's indicative of a trauma loop, okay? And the way that you break out of a trauma loop is being mindful enough to see it. Some of us are fortunate and we have good social support and people, or if you're in therapy, which I recommend talk therapy, I'm also an advocate. But if you are able to get somebody who can bounce off and give you observations that are healthy, that are sound, right? People who actually have your back and your good intentions for you. Excuse me, confirmation burp. Excuse me. Yep, some of you already have this, so definitely go to them to help you process your feelings, right? Learn how to regulate yourself. When you are able to be mindful or get sound professional advice or a trusted elder or something like that, somebody who doesn't have anything to gain from you doing better and somebody who's not offended by your forward progress. I'm not going to get into it, but there are some, unfortunately, a lot of times we'll find out that people are threatened by your growth, okay? a lot of people identify themselves by the same day in and day out. That can be represented by the Four of Cups as well. Being stuck in these cycles with the same kind of social groups, repeating the same thing over and over again. And that's usually a sign that you've outgrown your circumstance or your social group. And that doesn't mean that you don't care about the people or your community or anything. It just means that you need to find a way to experience that in a different way, or find where you are meant to be. It's a positive sign of growth. You can go through a grieving process, which this Nine of Wands can represent, especially with the Five of Cups, feeling like you're having to let go of a lot of things, feeling like you're in lack, like you don't really know where your place is, you don't really know where your journey's taking you. The song Against the Grain is coming on the music right now. So like, some of you need to be brave. I mean, that's what this fire energy is. In order to become the King of Wands, you have to be brave and get in your chariot, the Chariot card here, of victory and success, and move forward. You need to decide that you are going to break through some loops, some cycles, instead of blocking your emotions with distractions and old ways of being, or getting caught up in your head by listening to people who continue to keep you stuck because they are intimidated by your growth. Okay? Anybody that starts giving you evil eyes, so to speak, because you're wanting to celebrate your forward motion, that is a red flag that they are not your people anymore. Okay? I know something about this, unfortunately. I've been through it. So the Ten of Wands here next to the Adelita of Water, right? That's the Knight of Cups. And it's under the Chariot. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles under here. Remember that you have been investing in yourself, because the Knight of Cups, it's somebody who knows that what they are emotionally offering their cup to, what they want to go after with their heart, right? So for some of you, this is about trusting your heart to take you to victory and success, knowing that all the investments and time and energy that you have put into overcoming these wounds and these cycles and everything else is worth it. And to remember that the ultimate cup of love is the one you have in your hand. That when you have invested in yourself and you have become victorious over your old cycles, and you have become a more balanced whole person because of it, you can give your cup to anybody and anything you want to, and be safe to do so, because you know your boundaries, you know your limits, you know how to give yourself love, and you'll never feel rejected. You'll never feel wounded by other people, because you know you gave to yourself first, right? This is a self-love, self-respect journey that some of us have to go through. It took me many years to figure out my own. I am on the other side of it, so I'm speaking from experience there, okay? The Seven of Pentacles is investment. That's knowing that you put in the hard work and stepping away. For some of you, this has to do with manifestation on this project. Maybe you've just been working day in and day out, putting in your passions. And some of you, I'm getting a download that you've been in competition with somebody, maybe somebody who wasn't in competition with you, but because you viewed them, you put them on a pedestal somehow, you were burning yourself out to try to keep up with them, okay? And since it's wands, it's spiritual. This could be about spiritual growth for you, somebody in a spiritual community that you could have been competing with, whether you realize it or not. And there's no shame on that. It's just, this is part of your wounds. This is, for some of you, I'm getting a side message, this is part of the cycle you need to close out, is to stop competing with others to be better, because that can also create animosity and hidden resentment, right? Sometimes the reason why other people mirror your wounds back to you is because they themselves have been through it. And if you're looking at them as somebody who is on a higher pedestal than you, or in a better position than you, and you're finding yourself either using them for motivation or inspiration, hopefully not supply. Unfortunately, that happens too. For some people who have serious insecurity and lack, and I can get a lot of shade for this, but again, I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to speak the truth, and help people grow and to love and to do better and feel good about themselves. So if there's any, we'll call it lower vibrational energies, cross watchers, karmics that want to throw shade, just stop. Just stop listening to the message. If you are wanting to like harm people, remember that our energy gets projected onto other people. Energy goes everywhere, okay? So if you think there is no effect of your energy, there is. And also, if you ever intend to use that against people, you really got to look at yourself in the mirror. And as I say this, the song Mirror World just came on. Also, I'm a divine mirror. So if you don't like seeing a reflection of yourself because I'm seeing into your soul, you are welcome to leave, and we'll get back to everyone else who is here to do the work. Because I can feel you. I can feel you, and I'm going to decide to walk away from this energy now. You're welcome to stay and try to learn, but I'm not going to read on you anymore. Thank you so much. So, for some of you, this is about finding your own source of supply, we'll call it, right? Within yourself. Again, going back to the Knight of Cups and filling up your own cup, right? Knowing that you can offer it to anybody because you already have enough. If you are bored and complacent and allowing cycles to victimize you instead of taking initiative, being brave and facing them head on and continuing on, remembering what you have invested in and keeping the faith, finding ways to continue to be passionate and move through the challenges, you'll eventually get there. It's not going to be a perpetual cycle of suffering unless you choose to be victimized. And one way you can stop doing that is by looking at everything around you and then looking at everything within you. Look at what's true for you, look at what isn't true for you, and find a way to implement a road that leads you to success here with the Chariot, over the Knight of Cups, with the Seven of Pentacles. For some of you, you need to look at things you have invested in the past, including people, and ask yourself, were those good investments? Again, that could be the Seven of Cups over here diagonal to the Seven of Pentacles. That very much to me, and also the Chariot is the card of 7. 777 angel number might be synchronistic to somebody. Also, that is a great sign of good luck, good fortune, and spiritual involvement. So for some of you, that was a sign, a confirmation that you overcome this cycle and you are going to be victorious. You are going to be successful. But back to this here, talking about the Seven of Pentacles. Sorry, I tend to steamroll sometimes. This energy is quick. Celebrate your little wins. Be grateful for what you have, because gratitude really does breed more gratitude. And I'm not lecturing anybody, trying to make them feel ashamed. Again, if you feel that way, look at your wounds, because that's a positive thing. When you find joy from the simple things and you have a way to be happy with any circumstance, not because you think you only deserve scraps, but because maybe you've had some challenges in life, and if you can still find the sun in the dark, you can become the light. You can shine. You can move forward. You can blast through anything. I have personally done this, all right? So if you are feeling like you cannot shine, like you don't have energy, stop looking at other people to fill your cup and start filling your own. And if you don't know how to do that, this is a great place to start, by looking inward. Okay? Again, Seven of Cups, Seven of Pentacles. Earth and water. Those are both feminine signs. Those are both receptive signs. And feminine is receptive energy, right? So, in order to feel nourished and nurtured within every single, for some of you, I'm hearing there's like 7 people in your life this has to do with. For some of you, 14. For some of you, 5. That's just the numerology breaking down. That's significant to some. If at any point these synchronicities ping to you and they're true to your story and you feel like sharing, like, please talk about it. It gets more people into the message. Again, not to promote me. I mean, I don't care. I love the community support, of course. But to show a sense of community, be like, wow, this was true for me in this way and that way. I've had some people leave beautiful comments about the synchronicities and how specific they were because of what I was psychically reading in the energy. So, like, be open, because you never know what kind of magic is going to unfold in your life. And you never know what kind of synchronicities you're going to ping for other people by sharing your experience. So be open, be receptive, again, with this feminine energy. In order to receive the physical support you want, how can you nourish that cup of yours? Because when you learn how to nourish your cup and put the right ingredients in there, right, we're combining water and earth principles, you can create something new, right? You can mix together something new. It's not quite alchemy, but it's close. Alchemy is water and fire. All right, let's move forward. That was for some. The Haya of Air, so this underneath the King of Wands, some of you have been studying somebody you consider a leader, possibly an older masculine figure for some of you. Somebody who's already, I'm hearing for those that this is spiritual, some kind of spiritual group or some kind of spiritual union or communion or whatever, however you want to put that. This is somebody that you admire and look up to, who is courageous, charismatic, or it's some kind of figure in your life that represented those principles to you. And the Page of Swords is very much sitting back, studying, being a student, learning, investigating. The negative version of it is spying, right? So again, there's that lower vibrational energy that keeps trying to come back. And I wouldn't be mentioning this unless Spirit wasn't encouraging me. But when you get really caught up into the mental space and trying to observe how other people are doing things and try to do that yourself, but you haven't actually practiced the action, you've only thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, then you need to work on grounding that action. And again, what works for one person may not be what works for you. So if you find yourself in a mental loop of studying people that you admire or you want to be like or you're in competition with, look at how those cycles of mental loops have kept you stuck from acting by comparison. Because also, if you're anybody who suffers from self-worth issues, and there was a point in my life when I did. I don't anymore, but I did at one point, okay? I had to close out my own cycles, so I'm speaking empathetically. I'm not judging anyone. But I speak very honestly. It's something you may not find a lot with other readers. Because again, I'm not here to make money and monetize and get likes. I'm welcome to those things happening because, you know, mama's got to make a living. But I do not compromise my values and integrity to make other people comfortable. Okay? And sometimes when we're looking to replicate somebody that we admire, whatever the context of that admiration is, we lower ourselves. And if you have self-worth issues that you struggle with, you may put yourself on loops of putting yourself down. Now, I have said this time and time again, excuse me. Wow, confirmation burp. I'm sorry. I really did just eat before doing this reading, which I don't usually do. There's lots of confirmation though. Whatever. I am human, believe it or not. Mostly. Anyways, so if you're in these mental loops, I've spoken on how your inner critic is usually a reflection of how your authority figures talked to you when you were a kid, when you were still developing, right? Some of you might be kids who are listening. This is primarily meant for adults, but I know sometimes teenagers listen to my messages. And if so, listen, y'all, this is meant for people who have developed their frontal lobes. You can definitely take notes, but know that if you are not an adult and you're listening to this message, to take it with a grain of salt and utilize it into your knowledge and your wisdom going forward. But this guidance is primarily meant for adults. I felt like there's somebody on here who needed to hear that because, you know, disclaimer, which I do have in the description box, okay? Some of you are still developing your wise decision-making machine, all right? And anybody who knows a little bit about neurology knows that we are still developing our frontal lobes until the age of 25. And if you experience any neurological deficits or developmental issues, especially due to trauma, that can actually, even though you will technically be developed by the age of 25, that can actually delay you. It gives the whole late bloomer syndrome for those of us who know that didn't actually start doing what we love till after 30 or even 40 or even 50, and there's no shame, right? Know that a lot of times it's because we had a lot more healing to go through in order to be stable enough to pursue what we were meant to do here on this earth or what we are passionate about. So be patient with your process. Don't try to be your idol, so to speak, right? Remember that those people are also human and that they themselves had to make a lot of mistakes before they got where they are. And while you can try to pick someone's brain or study them and figure out who they are all you want, the best way to learn is to try to implement that knowledge within yourself in a safe way, okay? So some of you need to work on grounding more and bringing things out of the mental sphere and into the body. So what does that mean? If you are finding yourself in mental loops, grounding is going to help you. There are many different ways you can do that. The simplest way is putting your bare feet on the earth. And again, if it's cold outside or it's really hot, use your wise discernment. Okay? Only be safe about it. You can also grab a hematite crystal, tourmaline. You can grab any kind of grounding crystal. You can hold it in your hands. If you don't have access to nature, I recommend this to people all the time. Get a pot of soil. You don't actually have to grow any plants in it. Just keep a pot of soil. Or if you work with clay, here's another way you can ground yourself. Play with some clay. Play with some putty. Do something physical that brings you back into your body and out of your mind. Some people that might be knitting or crocheting, doing something with your hands that is productive and safe. Right? Okay? Bring it back into the body and out of the mind. That is going to help some of you. Yeah, because right up here next to the King of Wands, we have the Hanged One here. We have the burdock root, and that's the Hanged Man. It represents somebody hanging upside down by their feet in contemplation and deep meditation, who is getting another perspective on life. It also can represent pause. For some of you, you think you have to sacrifice, it can also represent that, something great in order to become a leader. For some of you, you want to be ambitious. You want to be admired. You want to be like this person that you look up to. And for some of you, that is sweet. And for some of you, you might want to look at the reason why you want that. Okay? A lot of times our ego can actually block our heart. Sometimes it takes a heart over head decision, not a head over heart. Now, there isn't actually a ton of air on this spread, so I feel like those are specific messages to a few, okay? The Hierophant here underneath the Hanged One, right? For some of you, you are actually, and we're talking about people who have already been through this, who are holding space for the people we have been reading on. This has been a story of your past. This is something that you have gone through. These are cycles you have closed out. You're observing. You're guiding others. You are this King of Wands, this curandera of fire. You are also the Hierophant. And the Hanged One can also, the High Priestess is the accompanying card to the Hanged One. They're both Pisces cards, right? Psychic, intuitive, empathic, deeply spiritual, can hold multiple points of view at once, can rise above and look at things from a different perspective, right? Zoom out to zoom in. The Hierophant, speaking of grounding, that is a card of Taurus, right? It is also the card of a spiritual leader. It's another aspect of a spiritual leader, just like the curandera of fire. The curandera of fire is more passion-based leadership, like a people for the freaking people, whereas the Hierophant is more like the higher spiritual authority. Traditionally, it's known like the Pope or a man of God, and in more alternative cultures, it's not the High Priestess or the High Priest, but it is somebody who holds a higher authority in a spiritual group. It's also somebody who's more traditional, grounded, stable, who likes to do things in an old-fashioned way. So for some of you, I'm picking up that maybe you are in your elder years, right? And you have led other people on this journey. You have gained many other perspectives. For some of you, you are mentoring others. And that's a beautiful thing. You know very much about a lot of the lessons that I speak of here. For some of you, this Four of Cups doesn't represent being bored and complacent, but being content with your emotional foundation and seeing how you can bring that to other people's lives. Perhaps you're also a healer. A lot of spiritual leaders are. The ones that are doing it for the right reasons, right? Not for glory, not for fame, not for the title, not for the ego. And for some, the money. Yes, there are spiritual leaders that do it for money, unfortunately. And there's nothing wrong with money if you have a healthy balance. The Hierophant is a representation of also spiritual wealth, okay? So it's a wealth of knowledge. It's access to traditional ways of expressing God, for those of you that are followers of God. I am a non-denominational channel, so I'll talk about pagan concepts and I'll talk about God. This is a channel for open-minded people. I'm hearing for some of you, I also have clairaudience. For some of you, you travel and speak the word. For some of you, it is your mission, so to speak. And I don't typically use that phrasing, so that's specific to somebody. I prefer to say path over mission. But for some of you, consider you could actually be a missionary. Or some of you see it as your life mission to travel, to spread the word, to work with groups, to help. Some of you, I'm getting a side message, you help other groups organize and collaborate. For some of you, I'm hearing you are fixers. You help people overcome. I'm not talking emotionally. I feel like this is a construct. This is a social construct for some of you, what I'm picking up on in this channel. We've kind of gone from the base to the middle to the top of the expression of this energy here. So for those of you that are more in a sense of leadership, you're helping people collaborate. You're helping people take action. Some of you are influencers. Some of you are inspirers. Some of you might have your own channels and platforms where you speak about spiritual concepts as well. If so, welcome. I'd love to talk to you and collaborate. I got my email and the details as well. Safe, true communications, please. I will ignore any spam. I will also ignore any hate mail. So, you know, I'm here to be an ally to the spiritual community, right? Cool. Some of you are also sharing your testimony, I'm hearing, and helping other people learn how to find their own power, find their own voice. That's beautiful. It's kind of similar to what I'm doing here, right? It's a service that often gets overlooked. And for some of you, I'm picking up, you could have been condemned or looked at like you were not who you said you were. Again, you had to overcome your wounds and your cycles. And also, when you are a leader, you're typically not somebody who has, I mean, if you're fortunate, you're in some kind of construct, like the Hierophant very much can represent some hierarchy, right? Some of you only have God to consult with, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't mean that as a derogatory, but you don't talk to people about your guidance. You talk to God, or your gods or goddesses, or your ancestors, right? Because this is not, I was just going off of the hierarchy of the Hierophant traditionally. But you could also speak to nature spirits. Again, this is, the potential is limitless, whoever your spiritual authority is. For some of you, you don't realize that you're spiritual leaders. You don't realize that you have this higher calling. You may be at the beginning of your spiritual awakening or in the middle of it, And this could be a part of your future. I'm not saying that's true for everybody, but if that just resonated in your gut or your heart space, look into that and think about it. I didn't know I would be here where I'm at when I went through my 3rd spiritual awakening. All right? I didn't know. I didn't know I'd go through massive ascension journeys. I didn't know. And you don't know what you don't know. All I know is that I followed my guidance and my spiritual path, and I built a community for myself when I didn't have a community. And that was part of my path. That was part of my purpose, right? I talk about my personal astrology to help other people understand the validity of astrology and also gain interest in, yes, I do birth chart readings as well, and I do astrology readings. I also do evolutionary astrology. It's not something I'd consider myself an expert on, but as far as looking into your soul and your path, that I can do for you. Description box for more, or channel main page links, however you'd like to find it. I have my North Node in Taurus. So when we started off this reading talking about lack, how you know you've come out of lack is by pretty much knowing that you have everything within you, that you are the abundance. Another one of my channeled messages before the last one was called The Prize Is You. That's another beautiful, deeply channeled message that you may resonate with. It's about finding the worth within yourself and then seeing it represented outside of yourself. And when you know your worth inside and you see it blossom around you as a reflection of you, you can manifest, you can create, you can have a higher spiritual authority if you're doing it with integrity and you are continuing to nurture and grow and build off of what you have created. So the North Node, the North Node, I'm starting to lose my voice, excuse me. The North Node in Taurus is about coming out of lack mindset and realizing your potential, your wealth within inside, so your spiritual wealth. It's coming away from fear of losing material and knowing that your spiritual beliefs will actually give you everything that you need to be provided for. It's essentially establishing faith. It's that bridge. The 5 of Pentacles is that bridge between lack and abundance. You can look at it as you're out in the cold, you're a victim, you don't have anything. Or you can look at it as, oh wow, I have an opportunity to walk into this building and find a community, possibly through spirituality, and expand. Because it's usually a church that is depicted in 2 cold, vagrant people outside. Excuse that term vagrant. I'm not sure if that's appropriate. I apologize. I myself have been transient at one point in my life, so I apologize. I don't mean to offend anybody. It's the traditional depiction of the cards, right? It is the bridge between the ultimate wealth, and that's with spirit and through your material. Co-creation is the act of working with spirit in the material. You are material. We are flesh. We are earth. We are also water. We are air. We are fire. When you're in balance with all your elements, you become the magician. The magician card is represented by having everything at your disposal, right? And it's also the sign of Gemini, which speaks, which communicates. Then you can speak into the world, your creations. But you go within as the hangman here. You go within, you talk to God, so to speak. You talk to your guides, you discover your beliefs, you contemplate, you get new perspectives. You are this wounded warrior at times. You are this Nine of Wands, who becomes the Knight of Wands, who is becoming victorious, who becomes essentially the spiritual warrior, who becomes the leader, the King of Wands. And guess what happens after the King of Wands when you have established all other kings? And it doesn't matter your gender, by the way. You become the Emperor. You become in control of your whole domain. But it's not about power and control. If you're coming at it from that because you feel like you have no control, then you're going to stay in this Nine of Wands. You have to decide that you are willing to be brave and make good choices for yourself first. Lead your own life first, and then you can lead others. And when you have overcome these cycles, when you overcome these torments, when you become wiser, and you don't have to go through this process for years. It just depends on how long your process is going to take, right? It depends on your own personal journey, your karma, your dharma, who you have in your life, who you don't, what resources you have, what you don't. The whole point is that you can start over from scratch if you have to. I did it. But it takes courage, it takes discipline, it takes continuous effort on the things you have invested in. One thing I had to learn, and it's part of this whole Pentacles, Hierophant, Five of Pentacles, I also have a Moon in Taurus, conjunct my North Node, okay? Moon in Taurus is represented by the Five of Pentacles. I myself literally had to overcome this, right? And I have a Scorpio South Node, so that's where I'm coming from, which is appropriate because we are in a Scorpio moon at the time of recording this. I had to overcome feelings of abandonment and being left out in the cold because of trauma I went through. And as soon as I stopped abandoning myself and learned how to nurture myself and work with the divine and co-create, I started to master the principles of the spiritual laws. I started to learn how to manifest. I started to feel more confident when I started to see that stuff actually materialize in my 3D realm. I was able to detoxify lack and being stuck and repeating cycles, but I had to rely on myself. I didn't have a community. All I had was spirit. And not everybody has to go through that hard of a journey. That is known also as the hermit's journey, right? I went through that. My cat agrees. I don't know if you can hear him meowing in the background. Anyways, I feel like this message might be coming to a close. That was a beautiful message. Thank you for being here. I feel like I could pull one oracle card. Let's see what's calling to me. Of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the description box. If you have any other thoughts on how you can accomplish this, if you want to share your own journey, I would love to hear it. I really would. But I feel like we're coming to a close here. Thank you for your patience, waiting for this message to come out. I've mentioned this before, that oftentimes spirit tests the collective through me, through my experience, right? So I've had to learn how to embrace patience, how to embrace temperance and balance, and embody these things before I teach other people. Oftentimes spirit has tested me before they have me test my community. And I'm not intentionally testing anyone. If that triggered you, that's a wound to look at, okay? I don't intentionally do anything to anyone specific. I simply follow the guidance that is given to me, and we co-create an experience for the community through that, okay? It takes a lot of faith to be able to do that, and I had to go through a lot in order to earn that faith. But I had to find it within myself before I could find it outside of myself. That is the whole as within, so without, which I talk about a lot here. If you'd like to explore, I have two particular playlists I recommend. All my messages are timeless. I have short form and long form in both playlists. It's the Divine With Me playlist, which has all tarot quests, all readings, and then I have my channeled messages playlist, which I sometimes call source downloads, in the description box, okay? That has specifically my spiritual wisdom that I channel. All right. So let's see, I have either Kuan Yin's Oracle deck or the Medicine Heart. I'm actually feeling called to pull from both. So one of these messages might apply to you, and one of the others might apply more. Again, check out the blog when I end up pinning it down in the description box. And you'll be able to check out the pictures in that post. Again, please subscribe. I would love to have you here, especially if you're on the path, if you're on the journey. And again, if you have your own platform, I'm all about community support. I have another public playlist I call Community Spotlight. So if I watch one of your readings and it really resonates, I feel like I want the message to expand, I will highlight you in that playlist. I have multiple different readers, astrologers, spiritual people. Something that I find of value for the collective. Sometimes it's a message that resonated highly with me of my own experience, and I'm like, oh, I got to share this because it's going to help other people. So like sometimes it's coming from personal experience, things that have happened to me, things that I've been through, things that I've learned. And sometimes it is just, I feel driven that I want to support other people in the spiritual community that have something really great to offer. Because I'm not here to compete with people. There are people who are still trying to compete with me and knock me down. But you know what? I freaking ascended because I kept going. I focused on my own lane. And now here I am with something of substance and value. And you know what? You can do it too. You just got to have courage and bravery as well. Cool? Cool. So the Kuan Yin card that came out, which I believe this has come up in another reading, to the Celestial Mountain. You have the ability to invoke divine power, to call to the Celestial Mountain, so that you might be gifted with the spiritual energy you need to attain your goals. Are you kidding me? How appropriate. I'm getting chills. Permitting beings that love you unconditionally to help you in an expression of spiritual empowerment. You empower the divine forces that can assist you to come to your aid and help you manifest your visions. I mean, wow. Did you all get chills? Because I just did. As within, so without. You embody the divine. That's not saying that you think you are God or whatever. Some of you might, and that's cool. You do you. I'm talking about as within, so without. When you find that spiritual essence within yourself because of your evolvement, because of your growth, the divine co-create with you. Call upon the divine. Figure out who your folks are. Sometimes it's working with your ancestors as a good start. Always set your protections and make sure you're clear on that you're working with benevolent energies. However, there are some people who work in the dark. I am not personally somebody who works in the dark. That's my choice. But I am in balance with my shadow and my light. It took a long time to become integrated, but I am. So what does that mean? I work with dark goddesses as well. I work with Lilith. I work with Hecate. I work with Persephone. I work with Kali. I work with Baba Yaga. And you want to know why? Because those ladies were there for me when no one else was. And they didn't require sacrifice. I didn't even know they were there for me until I knew they were there for me. And now I work with them. I co-create. I create beautiful, beautiful things from the truth of my past that hurt me. And that is how they have shown up for me to work with me and co-create. But I also work with archangels, with the utmost highest celestial beings, right? So when you're in balance with your light and your shadow, you can find your center. You can find your temperance. And you can open your whole world up and create from a way that you have never created in your entire life. All right? So, Medicine Heart Oracle, what do you have for us? Whoop. Hello. Oh, we got this card before as well. So it seems like, I feel like there's some energy of some folks that have been here on previous readings that may have been a part of this. And it's interesting. I was picking up on this card. I was seeing it in my mind's eye within the last week. And it's these three feminine looking figures. I'm going to use feminine pronouns because they look feminine. Again, apply it how it fits. And it looks like there's almost hamster wheels above their heads. And it also, in the past reading that I picked up on this card a few months ago, I said it was kind of like the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. That might ring some bells for some of you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the playlist. Go to whatever you are called to, whether it's the title, the images. There's something in there for you, okay? Timeless means that you find it when you're meant to. And also, I've often found that messages will occur to me later down the road, and I will find different meaning in them when I go back and watch or listen to them again, because I'll be at a different frequency. I'll be able to receive different messages. And you don't have to be a channel. You don't have to be a psychic medium to receive synchronicities and confirmations. You just have to be open And also, again, make sure you're protecting yourself in how you receive this information. But you just be open to the magic unfolding in your life. Okay? So, this card is called number 40, Collective of the Southwest. Whale Medicine Mentor evokes the song in your soul that needs to be sung. Whale moves slowly. As you tend to your inner work and visionary dreaming, there may be a lull in responsiveness from the world around you. Do not fight your own process. Trust that your inner path will yield divine dividends with grace. Your song shall be heard, emanating high frequency manifestations. I mean, wow, chills. That is the Hanged One and the King of Wands combined in that. That is trusting also the Seven of Pentacles, trusting your path, trusting what you've invested in, hanging back and sitting and seeing things from another perspective. When you allow yourself to receive, be in your feminine energy, downloads will come to you, inspiration will come to you, and then you can be the visionary, you can be the leader, you can act on these things as the King of Wands, right? I couldn't have ended it on a better card. Thank you all for everyone's presence here today, whenever you're checking in. And until the next time, many blessings. This is Ellie, signing off.